Hi, and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's quick review for 13 Reasons Why. This video is a part of a series of videos where I give a quick spoiler-free review of a show currently airing. These reviews are aimed more at those who haven't seen the shows, but those who have will know more of what I'm talking about. This video is for the Netflix series 13 Reasons Why. This video will be mostly spoiler free, however I will get into some spoilers from the first episode as it is required to explain the plot of the show. So 13 Reasons Why is the new Netflix teenage drama based off of a YA novel and produced by Spotlight director Tom McCarthy that's been generating a lot of buzz. It seems to be the follow-up to Stranger Things and being the new hot talked about Netflix hit. So I thought I'd check it out. So the show is set in a high school that is affected by the suicide of one of its students, Hannah Baker. And it follows a young, socially awkward student, Clay, who is played by Dylan Minnette, who I recognize from playing Jack Shepherd's son in an episode of Lost, but apparently has been in other films like Prisoners and Don't Breathe. Clay receives a package of 13 cassette tapes, and he plays them to discover that these tapes were recorded by Hannah Baker shortly before she died, and the tapes outline 13 reasons why she killed herself. And each tape is addressed to a different person whom she feels was responsible for her death and explains what happened. The package of tapes were instructed to pass to each of the 13 people listed on the tapes and has a person watching them to make sure that those who receives the tapes do as instructed, otherwise a copy of the tapes will be made public, which needless to say is not in the interest of those on the tapes. So the series follows Clay as he listens to the tapes in the present as well as flashbacks to the events described by the tapes. And each episode follows each side of the tape, hence there are 13 episodes for the 13 sides of the tapes. So before I watched this show, I heard some critics compare this to classic teenage films like The Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink, and said that it would be counted among them as classic high school dramas. And after watching the series, I think I have to concur. In fact, I personally consider this one of the best, most realistic high school dramas that I could personally relate to. I really felt this series was miles apart from most modern day teenage dramas in that it felt more like what it was actually like to be at high school and not a fictional representation of it. As I found most high school dramas try to glamorize or sex up what high school life is like, whereas this show displays how much it sucks to be a teenager and the vast range of complex emotions students go through at this age. In fact, it reminds me a lot of one of my all-time favorite teenage dramas, Pump Up the Volume, as that was another film that made it clear being a teenager sucked, and it was in fact a hard time to get through. And maybe it's just that I personally relate to that better, but I find the show very powerful in exploring this. Some, however, are off-put by the premise, as suicide is a very serious issue, and the premise of the show involves a girl who committed suicide, shaming those who had some negative effect on her life. And many may disagree with this and find the girl's motives questionable at best, but the argument I would make as to why this is still a good show is that you don't have to agree with what Hannah does in order to enjoy the show. You could in fact totally disagree with her, but it's a fascinating premise to explore, and the show does an amazing job of exploring the perspective of all of the characters involved. You grow to understand Hannah better and why she did what she did, but you also understand all the other characters and see their side of the story and how these tapes negatively affect their lives and may not have been the best idea. The show does a great job of exploring all these issues without making clear judgment, leaving the audience open to make their own interpretations of the events depicted. The show also does an amazing job at balancing the present-day storyline with the flashbacks that the tapes tell, and the structure of the season is just beautiful as it slowly builds the characters and events at the right pace. And the ending features some of the most emotionally powerful scenes I have ever seen in any film or show that, frankly, I feel blows most modern-day movies out of the water. However, that being said, it did dip in quality in the middle of the season with a few episodes that moved a bit slower than necessary, and one episode in particular that was completely unnecessary and didn't need to be there at all. And also, the ending wasn't as definitive as I would have preferred, as it left a few things open, but not enough to justify a whole another season, so I would have preferred another 20 minutes or so to wrap up the show properly. So my rating for 13 Reasons Why out of 10 is a 9 excellent. I was very close to giving the show a 10, but I did have to take the slow pacing in the middle of the season and the ending that could have been better into consideration. However, it was a near perfect show, and one of the ones that have affected me the most emotionally that I've seen in a long time, and I do believe it will go down as one of the all-time best teenage dramas ever made. So as to the question of will I watch the next season, the answer is a most definite yes. Although I am a bit skeptical about how a second season will go, as the first seasons felt very self-contained. Although it does seem from the buzz that there will be a second season, but I'm not sure yet of what form it will take. If it continues the story of Hannah Baker, I could see the show going really dry and feel like it's just beating a dead horse. However, perhaps if it becomes an anthology series where the second season covers a bunch of different characters, I could see that working, but even that could come off as a bit repetitive. But the showrunners have earned my trust with this amazing season, so I'll definitely give anything else they put out a shot. So that's it for my quick review of 13 Reasons Why. I will be doing a full review of the show in a couple of weeks for those who have seen it, and for those who haven't seen the show, I would highly recommend checking it out. I will also continue to do a quick spoiler-free review of a show currently airing every week, so be sure to check out my channel for that, as well as many other videos I do on other shows like Game of Thrones, Star Trek, The Leftovers, Better Call Saul, The 100, and more. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.